Okay, good morning S3 students. Okay, today is 29th of April, Tuesday, right? Yes, Tuesday, all right. Okay, now, today we are going to talk about a topic, defining and non-defining relative clauses. That is in the textbook, Unit A, page 114, 114, okay? So, this is the page. Oh no. Now today, we are going to do these 5 things, okay? So number 1, we will review, have a quick look of clauses. You've learned what clauses are before, especially 3B. Do you still remember? Number 2, we will learn what relative clauses are today. And number 3, try to recognize 4 most common relative pronouns. What are they? They are who, which, that, and whose. So these 4 most common relative pronouns and how to use them. As for how to use them, number 4 today we will do some a very short exercise, okay? And to check whether you know how to use all the relative pronouns properly. And then finally, we will look at, you can see that is the main part of today, identify the differences between defining and non-defining relative clauses. So we will do these 5 things this morning, the first part. And then, now, as I said, okay, on page, in page 114, the topic is defining and non-defining relative clauses. Such a long name, right? So, what are they? Now, basically, class, so these names, under this name, there are 2 things. We will look at defining relative clauses and non-defining relative clauses. Okay, so before looking at defining clauses and non-defining clauses, we want to focus on relative clauses. Relative clauses, okay? So these 2 parts, okay, come from relative clauses. Okay, so of course we are going to look at relative clauses, but before we look at relative clauses, let's look at clauses. Clauses. Especially 3B, do you still remember what clauses are? Now, so, clauses basically is, you can say, a group of words, okay? Over here, a group of words. So, it contains subject and verb. Now, pay attention, okay? We call this as a clauses. Look at this. This is now, in here, is there any full stop? No, okay? This is a clause, okay? This is a clause only. So in English, okay, so the second one is a clause. She is very nice, subject and verb. So a clause is a group of words containing subject and verb, okay? Which we can form a sentence, okay, or part of a sentence. Now, pay attention. So it can be a sentence by itself if I put a full stop here, okay? So it can be a sentence by itself if I put a full stop here, all right? But of course, now, a clause by itself can be a sentence, but you can add these 2 clauses, put these 2 clauses together and make a big, large sentence, all right? So, we still look at the clauses. Now, as I said before, a clause can by itself is a sentence, but you can put 2 or more clauses together to form a large sentence. Let's look at here. One clause, Mary is studying. She is very nice. Clause 1, clause 2. but I can make it as a large sentence. Mary is studying, and she is very nice. Full stop. So this is a sentence. Okay, and the second example, this is one clause. The cat ate the fish. The second clause, my mother cleaned the kitchen. So I can put these two clauses together, make a large sentence. While the cat ate the fish, my mother cleaned the kitchen. All right? Okay, so Miss Long, right now you mentioned clauses. What about relative clauses? Now, look at the word relative clauses. Okay, so what are relative clauses? So relative clauses, as I said, two clauses can, okay, put together, but there are something in common. Something in common. Look at this family tree, okay? Something in common. Now, you and your cousin, you have your grandparents, your cousin have her grandparents as well. And now here, grandparents, okay? Both you and your cousin have grandparents in common, okay? So these are the grandparents of you, these are the grandparents of your cousin. So these are common. So grandparents, okay, are common in both of you. It means that your cousin, to a certain extent, has some kind of a relationship with you, right? So, as for sentence, some sentence, okay, we can put them together, okay, because they have common, okay, the same thing, okay, maybe in a word, maybe phrases, okay, maybe a word or phrases in common with the main clause of a sentence. So, relative clauses. Now, as I said, okay, so in like the family tree, okay, you and your cousin have something in common. So relative clause just the same, okay, there is at least one thing in common. So now two clauses put together. One clause is related to the other. You and your cousin got a relationship because you both have grandparents. Now, here, I got tickets to see Jan, who sings like an angel. All right, so you can see this is a clause. Okay, clause one. And then the second clause, who sings like an angel. So clause 2. Okay. Now, so clause 1 plus clause 2, okay, to make one sentence. All right. Now, but you may ask, so funny, how come the second one, who sings like an angel? Who? Is it a question? Who sings like an angel? Is it a question? No. Who in this sentence, okay, is not a question word. It is a relative pronoun. All right? So, now here, relative clause, just like the family tree, okay? Of course, this is not a family tree. In these clauses, okay, so one thing in common, Jan and who. Who, that means refer to Jan, this singer, all right? So these two are in common, so these two clauses can go together. When these two sentences have in common goes together, we call this is a relative clause. And relative, okay, sentence. Okay. Now, again, I got tickets to see Jem, who sings like an angel. Of course, now here, this WHO who, okay, this is a clause, okay. By using who, this is the pronoun. Since who here is to refer to Jem, so that's why, okay, who is a relative pronoun. And who, these relative pronoun existing is in a relative clause. So now, that's why this is a relative clause. Okay, this is a relative clause. And of course, this is the main clause. Okay, two clauses, main clause and relative clause. By having this relative clause, it shows the relationship. Who and Jem in common, same person. Okay. And like the sentence before, who sings like an angel? You may have a question. Who? Is it a question? No. That is not a question word in the sentence before. That is a relative pronoun because that clause wants to show the relation with the previous clause. Okay? I've got a ticket to see Jem. So by using relative pronoun, today I would like to focus on four. Now these four are most common. We use them very often in especially defining and non-defining relative clauses. So what are they? Number one, you have to make sure the position, okay? These relative pronoun, very often, okay, before the relative clause. That is the beginning word. Now, the first one, who. So we use who, this relative pronoun, to show, okay, in the relative clause, to show people. These, the people are in common with, something in common with the main clause. And which, this one, is to show something in common. And whose, pay attention to the word whose, that is to show possession. What does possession mean? That means, okay, some, his or her, someone's things. Okay, like Tom's car. Here, that is his car, kind of possession, to show possession. And as for the last one, that. Now, look at this word that. Here, I put at the last, but I can put it here together with who, together with which. Why? Because this word that, this relative pronoun, okay, can refer to people, can refer to things. Okay? So, do remember these four common relative pronouns. Okay, now, right now, we talk about clauses. We talk about relative clauses. And then also we talk about relative pronouns. Okay? And now, when do we use relative clauses? So you may ask this question. Clauses, that is a group of words, okay? So, Susan wants to move to Tokyo. Okay, here, I put it as one sentence, okay? And this is the first idea I want to say. And the second one, I want to say, Susan is my best friend. Okay, this is the second thing I want to say. And then, the third one is, Tokyo is a busy city. So in my mind here, I got three things wants to express, okay? But of course, mainly, I want to tell you, Susan wants to move to Tokyo. Okay? So, now, when you want to put thoughts together, your first idea, your second idea, your third idea, or information or thoughts, okay? You want to put these three together, what should we do? Okay? As 1 minute ago, I did mention, we can put clauses together, but pay attention, we are talking about relative clauses. There should be something in common. Let's look at here. Susan wants to move to Tokyo. Susan is my best friend. Okay, So let's look at these two clauses. What's wrong? No? 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 What did I touch? Should I say confirm? Something wrong here. Okay, so okay, now something in common. Susan. Susan. Okay, in common. So this is the main clause. So I want to put these two together. Okay, so this sentence, I want to put this here. Because Susan is the common. So, in joining two clauses together, okay, firstly, Susan wants to move to Tokyo. Susan wants to move to Tokyo. This is the main clause. Okay, and as I already put down before, I would like to put these two ideas together, and this is another information I want to give to you. Okay, Susan is my best friend. So in doing so, I put this relative clause here by using relative pronoun as well. Who, that refers to Susan. Okay. Susan is my best friend. Who is my best friend? Because double Susan doesn't make sense. Okay? Alright. So, Susan, who is my best friend, wants to move to Tokyo. Okay. Now pay attention, relative pronoun usually give us more information. Okay. Now if just talking about Susan wants to move to Tokyo, that's all. But I want to tell you something more about Susan, okay? That is, she is my best friend. So I use relative pronoun to add more information. Okay, and by the same time, okay, I have the third idea. Look at the main clause here, Tokyo. And then I want to tell you something more about Tokyo. Okay, Tokyo is a busy city. So in this case, look at here. Now, this is one big large sentence, right? Only one full stop. But altogether, 1, 2, 3, 3 clauses. So by using relative, you can put so many thoughts together. But pay attention, okay? Okay, pay attention. There should be some relationship. These Tokyo are in common, right? So Tokyo. And I use the relative pronoun to refer to Tokyo. Okay. So by using one large sentence, but inside this large sentence, 3 clauses. 1, the main clause, 2, and 3. So you can put all your idea in one sentence. Okay, is it wonderful? Okay, so now, we've already looked at relative clauses, right? So now, let's move to defining and non-defining relative clauses. Okay, now don't worry. Okay. Defining relative clauses, one thing. Non-defining relative clauses, the second thing. Okay, so I will look at it one by one. Let's look at defining relative clauses first. Defining relative clauses. So, give you an example. My brother lives in Csjss. What? Your brother lives in Csjss? Well, I got a question mark. You have 2 brothers. You have 2 brothers. One is a policeman. The other is a fireman. Which one you're talking about? I don't know. So in this case, I tell you something more. My brother is a fireman. So, oh, I see. Now look at these two clauses. Now, here I put sentence, right? So now, look at these two sentences. So, what is the things in common? My brother, right? So, we can put them together by using a relative pronoun. My brother, who is a fireman, lives in Csjss. So the main clause is my brother lives in Csjss. Because you do not know which brother I'm talking about. So that's why you have to use another relative clause to explain, to let me know who you are talking about. So now, since you have more than one brother, in this case, you just use my brother lives in Csjss. So no one knows which brother you are talking about. In this case, you use the defining, this is the defining clause. You use the defining clause. That is, who is a fireman? It is a must, it's necessary information. Okay, helping other people understand what you are talking about. Oh, you are talking about your brother is a fireman. Okay, so this is a defining relative clause. I'll give you another example. Again, this is defining relative clause. Students who get 100 marks can have presence. So look at here, this class, how many students? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of them have presence? No. In this defining clause, who get 100 marks, very important information. Not all students here. Only who gets 100 marks. So look at here. Let's look at here. Hey, what's wrong? What should I do now? Okay. So, only two students get 100 marks. But that means only two students can have presence. So these relative clause, who, refer to those students who get 100 marks only, not all. So by using defining relative clause here is very important because, okay, at least I know I have to prepare two presents only because I just got two students, got 100 marks. Okay? So defining clauses is very important, giving information to people what you are talking about, who you are, referring to. Okay, now that is defining relative clause. So what about non-defining? Non-defining. Non-defining here, give you an example. My sister, comma. Now this is a non-defining relative clause. By having comma, okay, between the, relative clause. My sister, who likes reading, is 80 years old. Okay. Now in this case, you just have one sister only. So in number one, in this sentence, you are telling me that your one and the only one sister is 80 years old. And this relative clause, we call non-defining relative clause. And it's giving us extra information. Extra, that means it is not a must. Even though we don't have this non-defining relative clause, I still know you're talking about your one and the only one sister. Okay? And in number two, Mary, again, lives in Shatin. Now, Mary, you've already told me her name. I know who is Mary, okay? Because you've given the name to me already. So, it is not necessary, it is not a must. You give me this non-defining relative clause. But you'd like to tell me one more thing about Mary. That is, she likes reading. So in this case, you use a non-defining relative clause by using comma, who likes reading, comma. to give extra information about her. Okay? So, now, defining and non-defining relative clauses. Okay, we have a quick look. Put these two relative clauses together. Now, in defining relative clauses, the first example, my brother who works as a fireman, because you have two brothers, you have to give very important information. This is essential information. By using this defining relative pronoun, very important, let me know you are talking about your brother who is a fireman. The second one as well, okay, student who gets 100 marks can have presents. So not all students, only students get 100 marks. So in this case, we call these, the red one, are defining relative clauses. As for non-defining relative clauses, okay, like the example, my sister, I know you've got only one sister. So that's why you give me extra information by using non-defining relative clauses, of course, should have commas between them, okay? All right, so you may ask, so what are the differences? What are the differences? I've told you already. See whether you are smart enough to tell me. Now, defining relative clauses, okay? By having these relative clauses, give very important information. Let me know which brother. Let me know which students, okay? Very important information. Without this, I don't know what you are talking about. But non-defining is extra information, okay? Without this, we don't have this. I still know you are talking about Mary. I still know you are talking about your one and your only one sister. And secondly is, okay, there should be commas. There should be commas. Okay, now, besides, okay, why we use relative, defining and non-defining clause, you have to know how to use all the relative pronouns correctly. Now, we did mention there are 4 common relative pronouns, okay? See whether you still remember. But we would like to look at these 4 relative pronouns under defining relative clause and non-defining relative clause. Okay, now look at here. Because I did explain to you before, that can refer to people only, to people as well. So who and that, I put it together. The woman who lives next door is a doctor. Now, the woman, I do not know which woman, okay? You have to let me know. Next door, live next door is a doctor. Now, I use relative pronoun who. At the same time, you can use that to replace who. But that means if you use who, correct. If you use that, correct. But it must be in defining relative clause. And then which and that also, you can use which and that to refer to things. Like this, Brian works for a shop. Which shop? Sells computer. Okay, just the same. Brian works for a shop that sells computer. Both are correct. Possessive. As I said, possessive that is to show possession, his or her. We saw a man whose car had broken down. Whose? Okay. So, non-defining relative clause. We use who. Look at here. My brother, comma, who lives in Shanti, is a doctor. Okay? In this case, I know this is your only one brother. Now, which for things? Brian has a new job which he does not like very much. Okay? Okay. And then possessive, whose? For possessive only. Sam, whose car had broken down, was not happy. Okay, now. And now you will find here block line defining Miss Long, how come who and which? We don't have that. Yes, do remember. This is the difference. In non-defining clause, we cannot use that. Okay, to replace who? To replace which? Okay, you have to remember this. Now, let's practice. See whether you know defining and non-defining. Okay? Now, do remember defining. Defining, that is, you have to give very important information. Okay? So, Jenny knows a lot about medicine. Okay, I've already told you the relative pronoun, whose, but this is non-defining. This is non-defining. This is non-defining. I can tell you this is non-defining. Non-defining, okay. And this is defining. So Jenny, we got her name already, right? So you know, we know, okay, Jenny. So this is extra information, so answer A. People cannot be nurse, cannot be nurse. People, students get 100, students who get 100 marks can have present. All people cannot be nurse, no. So, now with comma that is non-defining. So here, it is very important you let me know. Is it all people? No. Only who are afraid of blood. Okay? And the second, and then the third one, student should contact Miss G. All student, all CSJ student go to Miss G to see her? No. So, who wants to join the choir should be A. Number 4, the Peak. We all know the Peak, right? It's a very famous place in Hong Kong. So everybody knows, so it is extra information, answer A. So by that is 1 to 4, answer are A. Okay, let me check whether you know how to use the relative pronoun properly. Okay? Now you know how to differentiate, to find which one is relative pronoun, which one is defining clause, which one is non-defining relative pronoun, relative clause. Now, let's work out number 1. Do you know a shop? Okay. I can buy a laptop, computer. Okay. So now, this is a defining or non-defining? Defining or non-defining? So this is a defining. So which? Because refer to the shop, something. Now this, since this is defining, if you put that, is correct as well. Okay? Number 2, the police have not found the person. So the person killed Jack. Now here, the person, of course, I didn't give you any comma. So we have to know which person. This is defining. Very important, you give me information. Okay, only, not the one steal my car, but kill Jack. So person, okay? So in comma is refer to people who. Since this is defining, so we can use that as well. So number 3, my t-shirt. I've already told you my t-shirt, okay? So, what's bought in Japan? Pay attention here. This is a non-defining relative clause. So t-shirt is something. Yes, we use which. Can we use that here? No, because that cannot be used in non-defining relative clause. The last one. Can you find David? Okay, hat is blue. Now, hat is blue. This is non-defining relative. But I want to show someone's hat, his hat. So, for possession, we use whose hat. Okay? Now, so, lastly, have a quick look. Today, we look at what clauses are. Okay? Group of words, okay, go together, can be a sentence, but there should be subject and verb. Relative clauses, as I show you, okay, relative clauses put thoughts together to form a large sentence, but there should be something in common, okay? Like Mary is my classmate who is nice. Okay, my classmate is, you know, a person who use who. Number three, four most common relative pronoun. Okay, these four: who, which, and that, and whose. But do remember, okay, that only can be used in defining relative clause. And as for the difference between defining and non-defining clause, okay, we all know in essential information, okay, and in defining clause, we can use that to replace who and which. But in non-defining, the relative clause just gives extra information, okay? But do remember, we can't put that in non-defining. Also, do remember to use comma. Okay, now, that's all for today, but before I say goodbye to you, do remember to do your homework tonight. Very easy, okay? Do your textbook, page 114, in the Google Classroom. Now, today we have the second part, is about speech. Mr. Leung will tell you something about speech.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Okay, now let's have the second part. This part is about the this part is about speaking. Okay, now today we talk about how to summarize 撮要 summarize the points in our discussion. Okay, summing up discussion points. Okay, let's learn this part first. Okay. Okay. First of all, look at the discussion. We have three parts. Here. Okay. First of all. Okay. Look, this picture. Now they are having a discussion. Okay. The first part in our discussion, we call it beginning, or call introduction. Just introduce the topic. What we are going to talk today. Okay. So let's start. Okay, let's start. Okay, the second part is the body. Okay, we always call them. This part is called is supporting parts. That means this is the part we are talking about how to do. What do you have in this discussion? Okay, maybe your idea. Everyone may talk something about, may raise some idea or topic or some other things in this discussion here. Okay, the third part is the conclusion. Today we focus on how to summarize the point in the last part. That means the conclusion here. Okay. Conclusion here. Right here. What's mean by conclusion here? That means the last part of the discussion. At the end of our discussion, okay, because there are many ideas in the discussion, so at the end we should summarize. We should sum up what we have taught in the discussion. So, if you want to remind your members in the discussion what we have taught. So we have to summarize the ideas. Summarize the idea first. Okay. For example, first we talk about dot 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 dot. Second, we mention dot 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 dot. The third one, something like this. Okay. Maybe we have many ideas. Okay. So here, how to summarize? How to summarize the idea? First of all, remember. Okay. For example, we are here. Yeah. Talking something, and then now at the end of the discussion, okay, you should do a summary. So first of all, remember, in the discussion, you should write down the ideas. Okay, maybe the Batman say that, oh, I agree, I agree, something like this. Maybe Wonder Woman say that, oh, I disagree, something, Okay, you should write down something. Otherwise, you cannot remember what you have said. Okay. Second one. Okay, you should summarize the main points only. Okay, you don't need to give any example. You don't need to give any examples or details. Okay, you don't need to mention the example in the discussion you have taught. Okay. Okay. Now, some expression it is very useful. Okay, they are very useful. Okay, during the discussion. Okay. Okay. For example, here they have many ideas. Okay, Captain America, Spider Woman, or Iron Man, or something like that. Okay, they have a lot of ideas in the discussion here. Okay, during discussion, you can think about this because we are students. So when we talk about something, it is always around the campus. So something always around what our students have done in the campus. So we always use the subject students. Okay, here. I think students should, okay, for example, I think students should wear masks in school. Okay, wear masks in school. Students should, okay. It's very important to wear masks in school. Okay, something like this. It's very important. Another thing they could do is to wash their hands. Okay, one thing students can do is what about something? Remember to use German or not. What if, okay, what if they forgot to bring their mask or forgot to bring their textbook? What if they forgot to do something? Okay, you can write a sentence here. Okay, this is the these are the expression we use during the discussion. Okay. Sometimes we use I agree. Okay, this is a suggestion. Sometimes you want to express what you think. We use I agree. That's a good point. Remember, sometimes you should appreciate what the other members say. You can use that's a good point. Ah, that makes sense. That's true. Okay. Of course, sometimes your members' point are not so good. So, or you don't agree. So you can say that I disagree or I don't think that's a good idea. Okay, you can use this sentence to express what you think. Okay, and okay, that's what we have. We always use it at the end of the discussion here. Okay. Okay, now we usually at the end of the discussion we usually summarize the point. So we all agree that, for example, we all agree that we should invite our principal to do something. We all agree that. Okay, agree something. Okay, or in conclusion, that means to tell the others. Okay, this part in conclusion, we think that maybe we should write a notice. Okay, we can invite somebody to make something. Okay, so we think that. Okay, in conclusion, remember here. Okay. Okay, let's look at an example. Okay. Your teacher has asked you and 2 members of the Career Week organized committee to think about some job interview. That means, and now there's a job interview. Okay, and your 2 members. Okay, and 2 members. Okay, and now you are talking about the tips. Okay, interview tips. That means what they should do before, during, or after a job interview. Okay, something like this. They should do. Okay, you can find this example in your textbook. Okay, on page 120. Okay, on page 120, this part. Okay, you can find this example. Okay, okay, here. Okay, before a job interview, first of all, what do you do? Of course, you should find out, research, that means find out, look for, find out the information of the company. Okay, for example, the company, it is about banking. Okay, it's about maybe trading company. Okay, it is about something like this one. Okay, you can find out the information. When did it or fund, something like this. Okay, and where is this company? Okay, who is the CEO? Okay, something like this. For example, the school. Okay, who is the principal? Okay, you should know the name, or you should know the departments, or something like this. Okay, you should find out the information of the company. Okay, what else? What else? Of course, you should understand the requirement of the job. Okay, if you want to look for a job in this company, what do they want you, for example, your qualification or your experience? Okay, look here. Spider-Man also want to find a job. Okay, so he is searching on the internet. Okay, using his computer to look for some information for this. Okay, and you should prepare some questions. Okay, maybe you think the employer might ask you. Okay, what's the answer? Okay, you should think about the question and the answer. How to answer your employer, or maybe, okay, of course. Okay, you should have a preparation for this. Okay, okay, in your discussion you may find out some point, you may maybe someone raise some point like this one. Okay, okay, you should think about this thing. Okay, and okay, during a job interview, of course, what do you do? In the interview, you should be polite. Of course, you should be polite. Say thank you, goodbye, something. Okay. Okay. For example, here, Spider-Man asks somebody, "Oh, you should be polite." Okay. Of course, your dressing. Okay. You should dress appropriately. I mean, suitable. For your interview. Okay, don't just wear a t-shirt or shorts. Of course, you should wear trousers. Okay. Okay, like this one, Spider-Man has different suit. Okay, here. Okay. Yeah. And the last one, you should be punctual, that means on time. Okay, or you should go to have your interview maybe before 15 minutes, something like this. Okay, you should be punctual. Okay, just like Spider-Man. Okay, warning. Okay. Okay. And at the end of the interview, of course, only one thing you should do is say thank you to the interviewer. Okay, okay. just say thank you. You don't need to say anything other so clumsy or something like this. Okay, just thank the interview. Okay, maybe you can send an email to say thank you. Okay, no problem. Okay, like this one. Okay, now, for example, I made an example like this. Okay, example. In conclusion, okay, we think that, okay, students should research the company, read the job requirement carefully, and make a list of. You can see that research, read, and make all we have taught in the discussion. So, at the end, we should use in conclusion, we think that students should. This is your sentence. Okay, we have learned, we have taught this expression before. Okay, second. Okay, and we also say we all agree that. Okay, for example, polite, dress appropriate, and punctual. Okay, during the interview, you should do this thing. So we can say that we all agree that, because the members in the discussion, they all say that yes, okay, we agree this thing. So we all agree that students should do this thing. The last thing, okay, after the interview, they should, okay, find the interviewer, okay. So here, look at the red color words here. We use these expressions to link all the ideas in the discussion to give a summary, okay. Remember, in DSE or in TSA, when we have a discussion, when we discuss with some other members or other candidates, okay, at the end of the discussion, remember to make a conclusion. Okay, remember to make a conclusion. That means to sum up, to summarize what you have taught. Then you can get a higher mark. Remember this thing. Okay, go home and try to, okay, read page 120 again. You can find some more information, or you can review all I have taught in this lesson. Okay, thank you. That's all for today lesson. Okay, thank you very much. Okay.